Hello everyone, my name is Kurazar, and welcome back to the Vintage Story Guide. We are back in the world after having built and decorated our brand new 3 Seasons bonsai room. And it must be really drafty in here because with all this wind, our trees, or our bonsai trees, are waving like crazy in the breeze. Well, you know what? I forgot to put glass in these doors. Silly me. Anyway, before we get started with the episode's contents, I just wanted to say thank you. After I had already started editing the last episode, we hit 1,000 subscribers. That's a big milestone for the channel. And I just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone who has supported this channel. The amount of love and support for these videos and the channel is just, it's almost more than I can bear, honestly. And I think it's great. I'm really touched, and thanks to all of you who've made this possible, and I cannot wait to see where the channel grows and to what extent. And I hope you'll be with me for the journey. So, before I tear up, let's get to the episode itself, shall we? I did the intro in our bonsai room because, 1, it was a neat new place to do the intro, and 2, we have rifts everywhere, and there was one here earlier, and standing here it was going burr, 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 burr for a while, and I was like, you know what, let's just do it in the bonsai room. Why are you in the ground? Why are you like this? Anyway, at the end of last episode, I mentioned that we are going to be doing something special at episode 50. We're going to have a world tour. And because of that, I want to spend some time getting our estate ready for the world tour. There are some things that we haven't gotten to, some things that need to be touched up, some things that need to be completed. For instance, I still have to put some of the trim around these windows and the windowsills. And look at all this barren grass here. And look at, not you, look at all of this really weird, rocky, stony area here that, is just sort of hollow, like my soul. These are things that I want to get to before we hit episode 50, and today I think is a great day to start that process, especially now while things are still a little bit green. The autumn temperatures are making things a little bit brown, but it's still green enough to count as summer, so I want to start getting in some of the landscaping, which involves terraforming here, as well as decorating the areas around our house with things like flowers and trees and bushes, and maybe even some rock and water features. Now, I don't know how much of that we're going to get to today, so I want to start by setting a couple simple goals, and then everything else will kind of be stretch goals, if you will. I want to get this terraformed. This is item number 1. When we have a world tour, we do not want the entrance to our estate looking like this. Let's be real here. And the second thing I want to get to is I want to finish out this area in here. I want to get it decorated, I want to plant whatever trees we're going to plant here, and they may not grow in time for the world tour. And I know this one probably won't be. 21 days, yeah, that's going to be done by November, and it'll be too cold to grow. So that's a very stretched goal. But I want to get this done. Whether or not we get the rest of the decoration done is going to be up to how much time this all takes. So let's go ahead and dive in and get started. And I have here a trunk half full of dirt, and I also have a chest full of relieved granite downstairs, which I'm going to use to sort of build this up as like a rocky cliff face until maybe about here. And this will include terraforming parts of this too, because this is kind of a weird staircase that I don't want to have around anymore. It's kind of, I don't know, it feels cheap. It feels like we've been using it for too long. And I also wouldn't mind getting rid of this and replacing it with something a little, not grander, but a little more modern. Modern in terms of what we've built since we first built that in the first place. Oh, and this too. Yeah, that needs to go. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, so we're going to start by getting some dirt in. And we're going to do 2 layers of dirt just like we did over there. Of course, on this sort of first block here next to our path, we will have limestone. That will save us, maybe half a stack to a stack of dirt. Oh hey, you went away, finally. Ah, it's calm. Nice. If we need to, I will go and harvest more dirt from some of these weird mounds. This great purlin noise land generation leaves something to be desired, I think. But it does sort of make nice, easy ways to get dirt. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start getting this in and bring y'all back when we're ready to sort of decorate. So now that we have the basic shape of how this is going to look filled in, except for this part, which I do want to chop a little bit out of here, I want to come in and I want to just sort of make a bit of a back wall here using some of this relieved granite rock we have. We have like half a chest of it, so I'm not worried about this going to waste or anything. But I just want to make a bit of a cliff face here, and we'll work you, I guess, back this way. And it's not going to be perfectly even, and that is fine. It doesn't have to match the road, because that would sort of look too clean, you know, too clinical. And so I'm okay if it, you know, has sort of uneven lines to the road here. And we will just sort of end it there, I think. And then what we'll do is we'll just bring it up a few blocks so that it is within 2 blocks of the topsoil here. And I might even bring it up so it's just 1 below. That might work a little better. And we'll come back in a little bit, and what we'll do, oops, as we'll fall, is we'll add some more crags. Like I might have a bit of like an overhang here, and a little bit of this going on here, and maybe even like dig a bit of this out again, and push it back by a block. We'll see. That kind of stuff, just to sort of rough it up, give it some more natural shape. But first I do want to knock this back a little bit. So let's go ahead and just do that while we're here. Hopefully we don't fill our inventory too much. Take these stones back. We'll be needing those as well. Especially on this area here that we'll need fresh stoning. And after a night of work, we finally have all this filled in. So now, as we walk down here, we'll have this sort of rising cliff face on our right. Oop, gotta fill those in. And we also have filled in this sort of little pseudo staircase over here. No longer accessible. Oh, I missed you. Let's get this done. There we go. Much better. I am liking this a whole lot more already. Now, we're not done yet. We do need to come through and we want to kind of rough it up because right now it looks a little too cultivated. So we're going to have to rough this up a little bit and maybe shave off some of the dirt at the corner here. Just to sort of have it, you know, the dirt's not going to be perfectly rounded right here at the edge. And we'll also want to come up here and rough this up by adding some elevation changes. Not all of this is 2 blocks thick. I kind of made a couple boo-boos here, and some areas are, I think, 1 block thick, and there are a few that I know are 3 blocks thick, mostly toward the cliff face edge here. But I might also remove some of the dirt at the top of these stone pieces, just to sort of show, like, you know, weathering. The dirt, you know, it doesn't have any trees or roots holding it in place, and so the dirt may have weathered away from the stone here. Granted, that isn't how most of Vintage Story terrain generates, but I think it'll look good. However, the dirt you see in my inventory is all that I have to my name, so I'm going to go somewhere and, like, maybe right over there. See that little lump? I might just smooth that out and steal all of its dirt. Same for that, and maybe a couple of the lumps back here. So I'll be back in a little bit, and we will get back on the task once I have some more dirt. Okay, I've gotten a few more stacks of dirt, so I think we should come here and let's just rough this up a bit. I think I want to bring this sort of blob out a little farther, and we'll just sort of more blobify it. The blobification begins. And then once we bring it out this far, might sort of blob it this way a bit. That's a little better. And then I want to kind of run it along the edge here. It doesn't need to be perfect. And again, the more perfect it is, kind of the more unnatural it looks. And once we get to here, we'll sort of start bringing it down. And we'll just sort of turn this into our dirt blob here. So we'll fill this in, and then we will look at sort of roughing up this surface here. This is really plain. And then maybe I'll get to the stairs now. I don't know, I kind of want to get to the roundabout. That sort of has been sticking in my mind for a while. So these stairs might survive a little while longer, but maybe not. We'll see. Alright, blob complete. And maybe we'll even, like, an extra little blob here. Breaking this up a little bit. And just the same as with the walls that we did, say on our potter's hut over there, you kind of want to do the same thing where you break up any large flat areas. And that can be with elevation changes, or that could be with features. Like, for instance, here we might want to dig this out and maybe put a little pond in, or maybe plant some more trees. So we'll come back with an editing pass here in a little bit and sort of start figuring out some of those features. But for now, let's get this rock face done. And oh man, this just hurts to look at. Ah, my poor eyes. And here we go. I think this is starting to look much more natural. Maybe not perfect, but I think we can come in here with some plants and some trees, and we can sort of maybe plant a pine tree here, and that will hide some of the imperfections. And that's something else to sort of think about, is not everything has to be perfect. If you can hide things from view that aren't quite perfect, then you might never notice them. I mean, you'll know they're there, and they might bother you, like they bother me, but at least when you take screenshots or when you're passing through and you're enjoying the view, it won't be spoiled by, you know, slight weirdnesses that you don't maybe appreciate. With that being said, let's go and start in on this area over here, I think I'm about ready to work on it. And sadly, I think we're going to have to uproot this poor sapling, which will reset its growth timer when we plant it again. But I think it'll be for the best, because I think I know exactly what I want to do in here. Well, I'd say let's get to it, but we're already at it. So, let's keep going. And like that, just by dumping our bucket and filling it 1,000 times, we've got a smooth, non-flowing pond. Alright, next I want to line this pond with some stone. So we're going to dig out some more of this dirt that we just placed. And we are going to replace it with some of the relieved granite. And we will probably have to re-bucket some of this water as it started flowing again here. Then I think we'll do a bit of this. Then I want to come in here and we'll just sort of add a few taller spots of rock here. Didn't need to put it on the grass, but you know what, that's fine. Now over here I want to have a somewhat larger rock feature, because I want to put just a little sort of hump of stone here and have a spring coming out of it. So this is a spring-fed pond. So I'm just going to raise this up a bit. Maybe cover that a little. And there too. Thinking something just like this might be good. Oops. I forgot about that part. Okay, let's do maybe something like this then. Should be fine. And maybe even do something a little bit like this. And maybe we can chisel that down a little bit. Do you have a chisel with me? I do not. So we'll start with that. Let's go ahead and let's smooth this out first. There we go. And then let's go ahead and make our spring. And there we go. We have a little spring-fed pond now. Let's put our redwood sapling right at the center here. And these can be a bit unpredictable. That's why I gave it a 3x3. What we'll do is, when it finally grows, which will be in forever, pro tip, you can actually pick these up and put them down. It'll re-roll their growth time. 29 days, there we go. So once this grows, we can come in and kind of cut back some of the land here. Let's go ahead and we're going to plant our pine trees now that are a little farther away from the redwood so they don't tangle too much. Put one here, here, and the nice thing is that these pines will take a lot less time to grow than the redwoods, so if we get any short or funny shaped ones, we can come in and chop them down before the redwood gets in the way. There we go. And then let's come back with a chisel and do a little bit of work on this stuff here. And there we now have just something a little more natural looking. Now, if you recall what I said about hiding things behind other objects to sort of mask their imperfections, or their perfections, what we can do is we can grab some berry bushes, especially the currants, because they will stack up to 2 blocks high. Let's go ahead and grab some of these guys, and we can start to kind of clutter this area a bit. And we could see if we can attach some of these to the sides, but I don't think we can. They need... there we go. There's one. Maybe we can do a bit of that right there. It needs to require a full, complete block to sit on. And then, you guessed it, lupines. Lupines, lupines, everywhere. Because they are the only flower that is allowed to grow on this ridge. And there we go. Now we have a centerpiece for our estate here. And once these trees grow, I think it will look even better. And something else I wanted to do here is I have been meaning to replace this with a tree for a while. And I was going to do a birch tree, but since we went down south through our translocator, I was thinking that a bald cypress tree might be interesting. And they have kind of a similar sort of appearance in a way, but I think the bald cypress has much better foliage than the birches do. And then I'm going to just put this lantern back, and I do want to come in here and I'm going to put, tell you what, we'll put one here temporarily, and we'll put one here somewhat more permanently. And at some point we'll come in here and I'll probably put like a little, I don't know, like a back way path in here, and we'll light it with a lantern or maybe some of the oil lamps, especially once we figure out what we're going to do with this, whether we fill it in or turn it into something else. I know I'm going to do a sort of like a Zen meditation pool slash woodsy area over here. I'm not sure about this one, but that is not going to be in this episode. That's for another day. But for now, I think I want to come back in here with a couple more of these cypress seeds, and we'll just plant a couple of them. It'd be nice to have like little copse of them growing here. Also, as a way to just get a little bit of a cypress farm going. I don't really have big plans for a whole lot of cypress wood, but I would like to have the option to get some more seeds. Maybe plant more trees somewhere. Now, since we did mention the possibility of running a road here eventually with some of these oil lamps, why don't we go ahead and start using some of them out here? Because we're going to need some lighting along this road out front. Anywho, as you can see in the corner of the screen, I have a temporal storm to get ready for. So I'm going to go do that, and I'm going to hopefully get a few more gears out of the deal, and we will continue the beautification of our home afterwards. Okay, we're back after the storm, and we did end up fighting 3 double-head drifters, but only got about a dozen gears, because each only gave like 4 gears average, I guess. So, before we get too into dressing up the area above, I want to address this area here, sort of once and for all. because this is going to get sealed off and we will hopefully never see it again. So I'm going to stone this, cover it up, and smooth it out, and then we will get back to work. Or keep working. And like that. It's as if it was meant to be there. And this low fertility soil will just sort of blend in with the rest of it. Once it gets grass growing on it, you won't know the difference. And I might just drop like a tree here, or, ooh, maybe a little waterfall. Maybe not today, because I want to have some other things going on. I want to focus on this road, and then this area, I think, and we'll call it ready for the tour then. You know what, since it's night, let's take a look at how our path looks without a lantern. Yeah, I like that. Just that nice glow. It's not too harsh. Let's just see where we're putting our feet. Even if it doesn't do much against drifters. Now the farms are a bit dim. But what I might do is I might put like a lantern sort of on the far corners. Or lanterns, plural. And those will also be used to light sort of the area below down here. So I might not even put them like really high up. I might put them, well, let's get some light back out. I might put them more like here. And that way up here, we'll still get that gentle glow. But it won't be super overwhelming like a lantern right here would be. And next we're going to come in with our berry bushes. Just like around our new little water feature. And we are going to just sort of drop a few around here. I think it could be nice to have a little bit of just vines creeping down, like maybe from here, like that, and maybe like one over here. I think we can actually get this too. Yeah, we can have it hang. There we go, and just one little tip there. And then maybe one coming all the way from the top there. There we go. I think we're looking pretty good. Okay, and the last order of business, you guessed it, lupines. Now, originally, I was kind of envisioning, like, covering the landscape with lupines. And I mean, like, literally every square. But, one, that would take a while, including both the gathering and placing of them. And two, I'm thinking it looks better with, like, splashes of color rather than color everywhere in your face all the time. So I think what I'll do is I'll just sort of put little stands of lupin, like maybe a dozen or so flowers, and just sort of put them at different areas, like maybe a few here on the edge of the pathway, and maybe a little bit over here, rather than, you know, go forth and multiply kind of levels of lupins. Now in here, I do have the lupins inside here, so what I might do is I might just use like mostly blue and purple ones out here with maybe the occasional other color, because I still want these to sort of catch your eye rather than, you know, getting caught out here. So I'm going to go ahead and get some lupins in, and then I have one final super secret project that I want to get to that I think will just bring everything together. It'll make it all make sense. like that, we now have small stands of lupins everywhere. Except for there, because I think I do want to do a water feature here eventually. So I'm thinking a small pond with a waterfall down into another small pond. That'll be for another day. But I wanted to take a look, take a little walk along our road here, and you can just see all the lupins. I really love this. This is awesome. Just that splash of color here and there on the ridge. And the lupins here welcoming you right up into the farm areas, which have their own lupins, of course. And we have our lights and our vines and bushes. I could live here. Oh wait, I do. Silly me. I put a larger stand of lupins around this thing to kind of just hide it from the road. Because, let's be real, it's kind of ugly. Even though it is my sort of fancier charcoal pit design. I mean, it's still a charcoal pit. And I even put a few sort of out back here so that... Oh, so that when I run by that, I get creepy music that stops my regular music. Great. But we have a few stands of lupins out here, or whatever the right term would be. One out behind the chicken coop, and one over by the cemetery, right over here. And just scattered here and there, so that no matter where you look, you're going to see a splash of color. Anyway, I'm going to go and start working on the super secret project now. And if you can guess, put it in the comments. And if you get it right, you'll win nothing. You win nothing. You win a sense of accomplishment. But to give you a hint, it involves these three things here: chisel, limestone, and slate. So, if you can guess it, go for it. I'll bring you back when it's done. Okay, everyone. We are back. And you'll notice it's been a few days. I think I started this on September 6th. It is now October 2nd. But I have been hard at work, sort of getting some of the last details in around the place here. I did go through and, for some of these bushes that were only like 1 bush tall, I replaced them with our cranberry bushes from the stocks we have in the basement. Well, had. Our bush chest is now entirely empty. And I put that nice rift there. I thought it was like a nice accent. Anyway, the big project that I had is down here. The thing that took me so long to make. And we're just going to stare at the ground until we get there. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. It's not ready yet. Come on, wait for it, wait for it. Wait for it. And you can open them. We have an official sign and an official name for our home. Lupine Ridge. And I went with lupine over lupin because it just sounded better, and sure, you know, these are lupins, not lupines. But we do have lots of wolves on our ridge, and I figured, you know what, it all ties in together. So these are the estates at Lupine Ridge. And that is the name of our home. A couple weeks ago in a community post, I had mentioned that growing the lupin outside my garage had given me some inspiration for what to call this place. And this is the result of that inspiration. And I spent a lot of time in a paint program just getting the pixelation of the text just right. It was a monumental task, in a way. And then I came in here and I chiseled this sort of wrought iron looking pole out of slate rock along with the rest of the sign with a sort of concrete, in this case limestone, base. And I even have little like bolts sticking up from the flange here. I thought that was a fun little touch to do. Anyway, it's kind of a shame that we aren't going to be enjoying the brand new scenery since it's about to turn winter and everything's already mostly brown. But this will look splendid in the spring, and I am excited to see what it looks like, especially after some of these trees have grown, or even better, after they've all grown, especially if they grow up real tall. I'm a big fan of tall trees, in this game and in real life. But we have done a lot today to dress up our home here. We have this new sort of nature circle here at the middle of our roundabout, and this will eventually be a very shaded area with a big old redwood. It still has 22 days. I don't think we're going to see that until about April or May. But we have lots of pockets of lupines all spread around here, and I am liking the way that our home is shaping up. Now, we are not done landscaping. I kind of ran out of, like I said, bushes, and also we're out of most of the lupines. I only have like half a stack of purples left, and only a handful of the other colors. I have several stacks of blues, but they kind of look a little samey all by themselves, so I'm going to wait to plant those until we have some more of the other colors. We also have this tower to finish. Don't look at that. Anyway, everyone, that is about all we have time for in this episode. I hope you enjoyed the beautification of our landscape and the planting of 1,000 lupines, and especially I hope you enjoyed the new sign and the official name of our house. I think this place will look perfect for our world tour, and I can't wait to review it with you. If you have a question you'd like to ask and have me answer as part of a video, like in a build or mining montage, please post it in the comments with the hashtag 20questions. These questions can be about anything, video story included, kind of an AMA style thing. So, let 'em rip. Anyway, as always, my name has been Corazar. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.